Real Talk.
Balance ng sinasabi nila. So, ito yung gusto ko sa mga guests natin. Like, on one hand, on the other hand, etc. So, even if we had people na who work with, like, Aquino administration, si Ronald Llamas, no? He was not like they're saying Aquino was perfect and Digon. No, he was very balanced. So, yun ang ginagawa natin. Anyways, guys, going back, hello, andyan pala kayo. Hello, hi, hello po. Hello po. So, yun. Now, let's talk serious talk, real talk. UniTeam. Unity, right?
Difficult level.
Meron bang, ito, parang ito Mario game to mataas na mataas. Speaking of UniTeam, meron pa rin bang UniTeam, Arjan?
Well, sa tingin ko, meron pa in paper. They have to be intact, to be, parang solid kasi they have to run the government. They still have 5 more years.
Yeah,
so they have to be talaga solid. Now, in terms of ano nangyayari sa loob, doon tayo magkakaroon ng malalim
let's have a discussion.
So sa tingin ko, meron talagang tension, merong rift, tapos sa tingin ko itong mga tension na to nanggagaling sa tinatawag natin na clash of interests involved. So meron kanya-kanyang mga priority, agenda yung bawat isa. Tapos yung huling-huli ko masasabi, itong tension na to nagmumula rin sa power struggle talaga. Who occupies what position sa government? Kasi sa ating gobyerno, isa itong presidential system, importante yung cabinet portfolios.
Right.
Kahit dominated mo ng Senate or House, or marami kang kaalyado ron, importante yung mga departamento or kagawaran. Yeah.
Let's continue. Ikaw, Gian, what is your take on the whole state of play in terms of the unity agenda of the president? You think the president is doing a good job of keeping a coalition together? Because my understanding is, in fairness to President BBM, even if may mga usapan na hiduan, very conciliatory siya, di ba? Kay Madam President Arroyo, kay Sara Duterte. At the same time, mukhang may openness naman to dialogue with the opposition. Are you impressed with how the president is keeping everything on an even keel na walang... I mean, as far as President BBM is concerned, he's not fighting anyone. Di ba? Sabi nga niya kay Sara, di ba? I'm still your number one fan, no? And kay Arroyo, di ba? Very respectful. And at the same time, wala siyang attack kay Lenny, anyone like that. I mean, this is very interesting, right? It's been a while since we had a president like that. No? I think Ramos was the last president.
Mismo lang siya. Aminin mo na.
Ha?
Mismo lang.
Iyon lang, yan. So yun, pinaganda ko na yung question. Go ahead. Siyempre, Sons of the North. No, I'm kidding, bro.
Let's just hope for the best. No? Sana yung unity na yan mag-last until his last day in office. So, yun lang yung take ko dyan. Si Arjan kasi, nasa expertise niya yung sa coalitions. So, I think mas makaka-contribute si Arjan sa topic na about unity.
Ikaw, go ahead. Define UniTeam Kasi pag sinabi mong UniTeam, para sa akin, it's Bongbong and Sara. Yun naman yun Everyone else, parang sasama na lang or senatorial nila or mga nakapalibot sa kanila. Pero kung ang pinag-uusapan is BBM and Sara, I think okay naman. Kung si Sara lang yung masusunod, tingin ko, hihintayin naman niya, she will wait her turn and she will support BBM hanggang 2028. Yung mga nakapalibot kay Sara, that's a completely different thing din. Even yung pamilya ni Sara or yung mga tao ni Sara, there are some who might want her to have 10 years.
Right.
Parang GMA
Susunod
style.
talaga sa yapak ng mentor.
Diba? So baka merong ganong iba. So doon nanggagaling yung problema. Pero yung pag tinawag na UniTeam, which is BBM Sara, I think yun pa rin sila solid pa rin. I genuinely believe, I always say this, na I think they really like each other. They
on a personal level.
On a personal level, I think. Wag lang babanggitin yung middle name.
Yun lang. At saka yung ginamit na term na
yung tambalos.
Yes, that was like the next. No, I mean, just going back to this, the UniTeam issue is very important because for the first time in our contemporary history, nagkaroon tayo ng majoritarian candidates. Yeah. Literally majority ng bumoto sa ibang candidates. Now, I don't care about yung mga Google Trends Club, friends, and mga ganun na may version of alternate reality. Sabi nga ng mahal na Pangulo natin, bawal ng fake news. Kaya, I'm still standing. No, I mean, so, ang point ko naman dito is, if this 60%-ish were to hold for the foreseeable future, tapos ng laban, di ba? But mukhang, that's not the case anymore. If you look at doon sa anecdotal evidence, so marami akong kilala na pro-Sara na hindi masyado natutuwa kay BBM. May mga kilala ako na Marcos, loyalists, medyo hindi sila natutuwa sa mga Dutertes, feeling niya. And then there are other people na even opposition, mas komportable kay Marcos kaysa sa Sara. Yung iba na galit sa Maharlika Fund, kaya pag galit, you know what I'm saying? So, mukhang the field is actually opening up. And we saw that dun sa survey na diniscuss natin in previous episode. For instance, si Sara Duterte, 28% siya. So, that's not UniTeam number. UniTeam number would have been 65%, 60%. So, mukhang baka ephemeral.
People are still open to other
options na hindi pala crystallized itong 60% constituency niya na open for contestation pa ito. And I think that's where we discussed the rise of Tulfos among others. No?
Kwento ko lang din, mabilis lang. Kahapon nasa taxi ako. So, kausap ko yung driver. So, I think he voted for Duterte and then Marcos. Pero, he said he was open to Tulfo. I think sabi niya, kasi nasubukan na natin yung Duterte, nasubukan natin yung Marcos uli. O parang gusto ko iba naman. So, I think
flavor of the month.
Oo, may mga ganung tao na nasubukan natin yan. Sila pa rin uli, o nasubukan na natin ito uli. O baka subukan natin, may ganung factor Baka may ganung factor. Of course, sa liberal, Aquino, nasubukan na din natin. So, baka it gives an opening to other candidates who want to come in and challenge itong UniTeam sa mga susunod na eleksyon. So,
I mean, speaking of Tulfos, right? I mean, what is your understanding of that? Because Rafi Tulfo is considered as one of the top 3 candidates along with Lenny Robredo. We'll discuss the opposition separately because I think that's a long conversation itself. Erwin Tulfo in the unaided version came number 1. I think he still has a good chance to be easily top 3. I think DSW did well. Are the Tulfos emerging as a new poll in Philippine politics?
Yep.
Third poll potentially, their own poll, yeah.
Obviously, yes. Kasi if you have noticed, yung Tulfo branding, hindi naman siya nangyari overnight.
Yes.
It has been
decades and decades.
Yes. And it was, effective naman so far. Kasi kung makikita ninyo, meron silang visibility sa media, tapos maliban sa visibility sa media, yung kanilang tema rin ng public service, sumbungan.
Yeah.
So, that's the brand that we're talking about.
And rapid action. And rapid response. Yeah.
So, nag-gain ng traction recently kasi kung makikita ninyo, dumami na ang Tulfo sa government. So, maliban kay Senator Rafi, nandun yung asawa niya, nandun din yung anak niya, tas ito, kapapasok pala ng kanyang kapatid. So, no doubt in the coming future, meaning near future, itong midterm elections.
Very near future, yeah.
I'm sure mukhang tatakbo dyan si Congressman Erwin Tulfo. Sa larangan ng political campaigning sa Pilipinas, kailangan talaga meron tumatakbo sa national elections para mag-build up.
Sa anchor, yun yung anchor nila, no?
So I'm really sure that Rafi Tulfo will think about this, will consider this in 2028 kung tatakbo siya bilang vice or president.
I have a question na ito. Talking about Tulfo, since we're talking about coalitions, what would a Tulfo coalition look like? Kung ako si Rafi Tulfo at medyo iniisip ko mag-presidente, mag-vice president, what would my coalition look like? Sino ang dapat kong makuha? Sino ang dapat kong maging kakampi ko? Sino yung, hindi ko na magiging kakampi to. So, sa tingin nyo?
Can I say something that I want to also get Gian's point of view? I mean, for me, if you look at the positioning of the Tulfos over the past few years, they're confident with Duterte, they're confident with Marcos, but they're also not necessarily uncomfortable with the opposition. There are times that Riza Ontiveros and Rafi Tulfo have a very good, synchronicity dun sa kanilang positioning, no? Kung titignan mo yung issue ng national grid issue, literally yung sinabi ni Rafi Tulfo the other month is the same thing Riza has been saying for quite some time. My understanding is the two have very good rapport, like super good rapport, and Rafi Tulfo appreciates and dun sa mga labor issues, progressive issues. So they're very well positioned to work with multiples. Again, I never saw them as an addendum to the Marcos or Duterte. I saw them as their own force.
Yep.
And now that's, I think, already a fact. I think it's something that everyone is recognizing. So, in terms of coalition, ang ganda ng Venn diagram Kasi ang dami nilang pwede i-overlap. Diba?
May bridge pa sa lahat.
I-map mo yan, yung ng mga Tulfos sa mga issues, pwede mag-overlap dito. So, ang ganda yung pwede nilang gawin yung radius of coalition building Ang ganda Like, I'm saying this not, to endorse them, I'm saying this from a political analysis standpoint. ang ganda ng positioning, kung war of positioning, ang ganda ng ginagawa nila. Ikaw, anong basa mo? I mean, coalition building is now your research, right? Arjan,
yun nga, kung pwede natin balikan yung mga dati ring mga toolful like, politicians, like for example, sila Senator Grace, si Yorme, nag-emerge din sila. Yes, nag-emerge din sila as sabihin nating alternative
third
politician. Yung tanong mo, Mark, kung ano kaya magiging itsura ng coalition, I'm expecting na mga forces na willing din na magkaroon ng alternative politics or alternative narrative, yung reform-oriented din na hindi nagsasubscribe dun sa mga existing or yung mga, sabihin natin, kilala na natin mga forces. So, hindi siya nagawa nung panahon ni Senator Grace, tapos nung panahon din ni Yorme, hindi rin nag-converge. So, yan yung magiging challenge kay Senator Raffy. Kung sakali man ay consider niya tumakbo sa 2028, paano niya pull together yung mga besties niya sa Senate sila?
I mean, you could imagine him with Pacquiao. You can imagine him with Riza even. He was like, ang dami mga permutations na pwede mangyari. You can even imagine running with Sara maybe at some point if really Sara is so formidable and there's a good understanding. So, ang ganda. Like talagang optimal yung positioning. So far, of course, many things could change in the next 5 years. But yun ang point ko. Ikaw, Gian, what's your understanding of the rise of the Tulfos?
Kasi for me, it's still too early to speculate on that coalition. Kaya hindi ako makapag-comment talaga dyan. But yeah, like you mentioned, magandang maging tandem din. Sana in the future si VP Sara and Tulfo.
Yeah, I'm not ruling that out.
Para wala ng kalaban.
Wala, tapos na usapan. That's it, over. It's over. Yeah, pag nangyari yan.
Yeah, for me, that's going to be an interesting tandem.
Yeah, so ang akin lang kasi is whatever is happening with the UniTeam, whether perception or reality, that's creating space for others to rise. That's one thing. That's why, yes, it's speculative, but it's already having a political manifest. But the second thing is this, Gian. Yes, pwede mo sabihin, 2028, ang layo pa yan, bakit ang establish go na, sir? Pero, yun nga game theory, shadow future. If I think you're the inevitable future, ngayon pa lang, dapat luluhod na kami sa'yo. Bend the knee as early as now because I'm the future king. Right?
Na yung iba.
Kumbaga crown prince situation, if I could put it that way. Kaya mahalaga yung speculation mo about the future because it shapes your current political calculus. Kaya I completely disagree with a lot of our friends who say, masyado kayo advance mag-isip. Well, that's how politics works. At kung sino advance mag-isip, yun ang nananalo sa politika, or at least matalino mag-isip sa politika, right? As a political analyst. So
well, to add din, yung tinitingnan ko rin na anggulo kung bakit siguro may nagpa-survey. Ang suspicion ko dyan kasi baka mamaya gusto na nilang i-reveal kung sino yung leading para tirahin na or pabagsakin na.
Striptease ba yan? Like, what's going on there?
Parang kay Binay, di ba?
Right. So, sineset up ka na for nasa crosshair ka na.
You're putting a target na on the back of the
And don't forget, nangyari din sila. In the past, maliban kila Binay, marami na rin mga leading, except siguro kay Erap, marami na rin mga leading mga candidates na naging exposed sa criticism.
Grace po, for instance, not only criticism, legally challenged, right? Really at the highest level. So yun yung nakita ko rin na isa pang motivation kung bakit, yun nga, ngayon pa lang, nagpa-survey na sila. Wala akong sabihin dyan, ha? Basta ako, Google Trends ako. Doon talaga ako may wala. Ano daw yung latest ng Google Trends pagdating sa Google, ChatGPT style. ChatGPT, sino maging president in 2028? Yung mga ganun. Okay, mamaya natin balikan ng Google Trends. Now, my understanding is that there's also geopolitics involved here. That the whole, UniTeam, feeling ko sa drug war, I mean, first of all, there's a Rappler report that suggests still EJKs are happening. So, it's not totally ended as far as the drug war is concerned. Doon na naman sa issue ng ICC, so far, PBM is holding the ground for Tatay, if you can put it that way. On the Lima, maybe there could be some tensions because my understanding is in the more than 50% chance within 6 to 8 months, we know what's going to happen with Senator De Lima's case. And I'm cautiously optimistic that it's going to be more in the direction of her getting at least a bail or getting free. Pero sa foreign policy, medyo the ball got rolling na I mean, medyo hindi na natutuwang China at alam natin, the Dutertes generally are more comfortable dealing with China perhaps than more traditional politicians, no? And President Marcos Jr., I don't think he wants to align with the US against China. He still wants to keep relations with China on even keel. But still, ang laki nung difference dun sa time. Wala pang 1 year, twice na siya sa US. Nakailang meetings na siya with Biden. So, ang layo yung nangyari from early to 30 years dun sa early years ni Marcos. So, my sense is, even if foreign policy is not a major issue, we discussed that separately in different interview, it is becoming an issue because it's really where you see the differentiation at its highest level. So, kung I can put it in the formula, yung quotient, no, ang taas ng quotient ng differentiation between so feeling ko that could be and look at a lot of pro-Duterte people or media that I'm not gonna name. Yung line of attack kay Marcos is not on any domestic issue. It's all on China-US. It's practically everything. I can name drop and all. Diba? So for me, this also says why the Philippines right now is not just any other country. It's a country at the forefront of US-China competition. Sobrang mahalaga na tayo.
I have a question for you, Sir Gian, sa foreign policy. Do you think that also affects yung relationship ni PBBM at ni Sara na kaya hindi fully ma-endorso or maano sa come 2028 because of that issue na baka mag-turn around na naman tayo sa foreign policy and yung mga gains na with our alliance sa US mabaliktad na naman. Do you think it affects their dynamics ngayon or they don't talk about it na lang?
I mean, so far, it's Tatay Digong who's very strongly against EDCA. Have you heard anything from Sara on EDCA? Well, none, right? So Sara is still being very professional, if I can put it that way, no? But how long can this stand, no? Especially if tuloy-tuloy itong EDCA issue na ito, no? Will there be a more alignment of the Duterte line or Sara will still be, calibrating the wishes? I think so far Sara's doing a very good job of calibrating, not picking a direct fight. But yun nga, where is this gonna go, right? Is this sustainable, this situation? So I think that's one thing we're gonna look at, no? So yeah, for me, so far Sara doing right, but things could change on 6 months to 1 year. Once nandun na yung mga Amerikano. Kasi hanggang ngayon, hindi pa na-resolve. Ilan mga Amerikano papasok sa mga bases na yan, gaano kalaki yung access nila, ano yung exercises. But in 1 year, it might start. Essentially, the boots will be on the ground. And then, let's see, mukhang maging next level na yung debate. And I'm saying this as someone who's at the forefront of the debates on EDCA and all, right? And talking to all sides in the most inclusive way possible. Now, transition tayo ng konti naman. Baka sabihin na, ito na naman si Darian, puro naman, puro naman Tulfo, puro naman, di ba? So, let's talk about opposition. So, obviously, dun sa survey nakita natin, that opposition is still in the game in the sense that if Lenny were to run for the Senate, she's still within the range, right? Because ang kutob ko dun sa established, 3-4 dyan, hindi tatakbo. So automatically within 12 na si Lenny. My sense is she'll even be top 6 or 8 if she really says, I'm in. And then, even for presidency, she's still in the conversation, right? With margin of error, actually, she's tied almost with Tulfo, which is not a bad number. She's not there, but that also raises an awkward question, right? Where's Riza in the conversation? Because she's now supposed to be the leader of opposition. Shouldn't Riza be really the next focus for the opposition? What's going on? Ikaw, what's your read on this?
Well, my understanding is, Riza is considered to be, by default, parang leader ng opposition. But she is concerned with, perhaps yung pag-oppose ng naayon sa kanyang position, which is being a senator. At part siguro ito ng kanilang effort to rebuild, parang to change yung image, yung mismong disposition ng opposition forces na, of course, this past few years ay talagang na-damage. So, yun yung maganda kay Senator Riza. She really keeps, she really tries her best to be professional, to be, maganda yung disposition niya bilang opposition. Now, number 2, pagdating naman dun sa issue with former Vice President Leni Robredo, let's admit na naging ambivalent this past few months after the May 2022 elections. She really parang distance herself sa mga issues of the day, tapos nanatili siya dun sa civil society persona niya. And
travels.
I understand. Yun nga, mukhang kailangan niya munang mag-recuperate sa charge experience na yun. But again, hindi pwedeng maiwan si Risa na mag-isa
Yeah.
or si Coco na mag-isa. Kailangan yung institutionalized opposition politics, merong susog or support coming
Yeah.
from the outside, which is, yun yung sa tingin kong mahina ngayon ng opposition.
Parang wala nga, no?
Yeah. Sa institutionalized, okay tayo eh. Pero pagdating dun sa labas, non-institutionalized, tahimik, pasundot-sundot lang sila eh. Mga
Yun nga,
former
kasi the
senator.
ambivalence was also the problem before the elections, right?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, surprise! Like ambivalence. It's the first time. It's been a recurring theme,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think one explanation. I know Mark has a lot to say on this and Gian, but I mean the one explanation is, she's not really a politician.
Yeah.
She's a public servant, and she kind of formalized that by saying, whatever I choose, I'll choose to serve the Philippine people, whether in elected office or not. But realistically speaking, she won 15 million votes plus.
Yep.
That gets you presidents in normal situations, except you had the UniTeam back then, no? That could be mobilized. That could be worked on. I mean, one of the things I hear from some of our friends is, dun sa mga volunteers, ang dami nag-volunteer kay Lenny, no? Thousands, 100,000s. Meron ba kayong database nun to call these people back for future organs? Parang wala daw. I mean, like, maraming mga SOPs ang parang hindi nagawa because, I don't know, like, were people looking for a magic and then move on? Or like, natalo na kami, forget about it? Like, what's going on? Kasi ambivalence has its own value. But 15 million votes is a lot of votes. And I always say, hindi lang 15 million votes eh. You guys have been or have seen, di ba, yung mga Lenny rallies? Like, daming tao. And these are people who are paying from their own pockets, people who are excited to be in politics, people who are vocal, people who are mobilized. Like, the potential is immense. The multiplier effect is there. And yet, neither is this mobilizing behind Riza, at least on the surface level, nor am I saying that, you know, Lenny is giving them any idea about where they're going. Or do they want to play another surprise game? Parang nung last elections, nang biglang tatakbo for saying. I mean, if she were to run, she should run for local or for national. Parang governor, ang hirap eh. Mga Villafuerte ba yung kalaban?
Mahirap.
Medyo, feeling ko that's the riskiest fight eh, if she goes against the... Ikaw, ano, what do you read?
Well, yun nga, number one, we have to rin talaga admit that tama, yung ambivalence mukhang nagba-backfire eh. So, they did not do their assignment. Sorry sa opposition forces out there. Parang
Hindi
nila
ako nagsabi na, no? Kaya nga, dinala ka dito eh.
Sinetap mo eh.
Dito na. Go ahead.
When I say they did not do their assignment, meron kasing opposition politics na tinatawag na kung saan
Correct.
kapag outside ka ng government, you must parang function as an alternative government.
Shadow government.
Yes, yun yung nakalimutan ng ating opposition forces. Nung natalo sila sa election, wala na. Kasi nag-distance sila, yung iba
Si Maros, di ba nag-yoga na siya noon after? Alala mo yun na nag-yoga siya?
Ako, very vocal ako.
Ako nag-yoga rin, I'm just saying.
Very vocal ako months after elections na nasa ng opposition. They should be giving alternative policies, alternative programs, tama na ad hominem attacks. Kasi yung tao...
Kay Darian, kay Vico Soto.
ikaw kasi.
Cancel dyan.
So, in fairness naman kay Senator Risa, kasi yun yung ginagawa nila, sila Senator Coco.
Yeah.
Pag sila
Job sa loob.
Ay,
Yes.
gusto.
I have something to add.
Yeah, go.
Yung sinasabi niya na walang outside na opposition, meron actually. Pero DDS.
Yan nga yung problema.
Iyon.
Nagkaloko-loko na.
Napaisip ko, wala nga ba? Wala nga ba talagang nakikriticize from the outside? Meron. Sila Maharlika. Sila Banat Bay. Sila, yun ang maingay
Sasot.
eh. Si Sasot.
Yeah.
Yun ang maingay. So gets ko yung frustration na bakit tahimik.
Si Trillanes, kamusta siya? Parang wala siya.
Sabihin ko na naman si Trillanes parang gustong tumalon pa-admin.
Interview natin next time si Trillanes. Ano pong say niya sa mga Harlika fan? Wala akong nakitang tweets na siya.
Pero talking about coalitions na lang.
Yeah.
Paano coalition ang dapat buuin ng opposition? When I talk opposition, Lenny, Risa,
Yes.
Liberal Party, anong klaseng coalitions ang kailangan nilang binubuo ngayon?
Kasi yun nga, sa institutionalized space, linawin ko lang, maliban kila Senator Risa, kila Senator Coco, sa House, nandun din sila Congressman Edsel, yung mga Bayan Bloc. Sa labas, ang ina-expect ko magiging sanang coalition nila,
Right.
ay yung mga movements. Kumbaga, ito yung mga grupo na
Iba-ibang
nagsusulong
kilusan, no?
na mayroong issue of the day
Correct.
na dapat pinupush sa ating gobyerno, sinisel sa ating mga congressmen and senators. Kumbaga sila dapat yung mga naglalabi ng, kunwari katulad yan, yung political party development bill. Merong mga movements ngayon, pero mahina, walang participation ng common na tao eh. So sila pa rin, mga academics, mga NGOs.
Niche.
Yes.
Medyo niche ang dating. Oh.
So maganda sana na maipaalala natin sa mga nanonood ngayon, yung kunwari yung 1 million march, di ba? Lumabas talaga ang mga tao nun. They are really against the pork barrel practice. Or
Tama, naalala ko yan.
So sana ganun yung maging opposition
Tama.
courses natin in the coming years na hindi lang, ayoko talaga kasi sorry yung ad hominem attack lang. Yung bang ayoko sa'yo, presidente ka, ano ka, sinungaling. Parang, yes, sinungaling sila.
Yung gumagawa ng carton na maharli ka, tapos inatomin si BBM, alam mo na yung sinasabi.
Yeah.
So,
For example, yun nga, yung sa UP School of Economics, yung kanilang pag-o-oppose dun sa Maharlika Bill. Ano sila? Level of ano talaga sila?
Yeah. Evidence-based.
Yes.
Evidence-based.
So,
Pero may mga nandun sa UP School of Economics na never mind.
so kumbaga parang yun yung hinahanap ng tao. Yun yung hinahanap
Real
ng tao.
talk.
Kaya siguro dapat palalimin pa natin yung mismong pag-oppose kasi kung gusto nila
Constructive
lumaki
dapat,
yung movement,
constructive.
ayusin naman
So they
nila.
should come from organizations.
Yeah.
Depending on the topic. Pag ang topic.
Movements. As in kilusan.
Kilusan.
Kung organization, baka ano lang yan, mga niche-niche lang yan.
Yeah.
Huwag yung
Saka
ganun.
sana organic eh. Yun yung hinahanap ng tao kung legit ka ba na organic na movement o pinapatakbo ka lang naman na isang pampartido na ano eh, galit sa nakaupo. So parang sana gawin talaga nila yung pag-oppose ng seryoso. Hindi lang yung opposing just for the sake of opposing.
Pero what are the things that they got right so far? I mean, I know maybe it's too early, pero for me, actually it's late. Dapat ilang elections na natalo ang opposition. Hindi lang ng 2022, diba? 2019, walang senador na nanalo from them for the first time in 81 years.
Yeah.
2016, Lenny lang talaga yung yung bright shining star nila, but wala, talo sila sa So back to back, tatlo na yan, diba? So maybe they should really work on it as early as now. What are the things they're getting right so far? Do you think okay, externally maraming toxic on Twitter and all, kilala natin yan. I mean, I should know it very well, right? Pero my understanding, Arjan, and probably you know better than me, is that internally mukhang may soul-searching naman nangyari, di ba? And some recalibration, understandings happening. What are the things they're getting right before we go back to what are the things they should do?
Well, there's an effort talaga to listen. They're trying their best to go out of their, sabihin natin, yung
Comfort zones.
yung echo chamber nila, yung bubble, ini-engage nila yung mga common tao. But to me, they're not enough eh. The listening should not just happen months before an election or a campaign period. The listening should happen all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I think yung mistake nila in the past na inorganize pa nila yung listening. Tapos may period. Sabihin nila listening na yun. No,
So parang taking the box ang dating.
Yun nga eh.
Ay, we had a listening session in our...
Yeah, no.
Listening should come year-round.
And the recruitment
Doesn't
should
stop.
be inclusive.
Consultative.
Meaning, if they really want to have, a bigger parang force, mag-effort naman kayo mag-convert. I mean, when I say mag-effort mag-convert, wag mo naman kutyain yung hindi mo katulad mag-isip. Tapos ko-convert mo dahil
Cancel
minaliit mo.
culture,
No.
yeah.
May pride yun eh. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, yung political party building kasi kadalasan, yung ibang membership nila nanggagaling sa kabilang partido na na-convert nila. Paano nila nagagawa yun? Simple lang. Yung commonality muna. Pilipino lahat tayo, gusto natin ang mga... Hindi, yung approach kasi na iba nating nasa opposition forces, toxic politics. Vitriolic yung yung attack, masasakit. Ako na-experience ko yan. Pag hindi ako nag-agree dun sa punto nila, kadalasan titirahin ka ad hominem.
Ako ang sagot ko dyan, kinakancel ko rin sila. Padamihan tayo ng followers. Showdown. Like, for me, I mean, they always say, let's be above the fray, blah, blah. But sometimes you have to put some of these clowns in the right place. Real talk na to, di ba? Ako, I literally quote them and say, di ba? And then let my followers to take care of them. No. That some of these people got away with so much. And some of these are mga duwag na anonymous. They don't even have the guts to put their own real names out there. And they go after people like us who actually write I mean, we write as ourselves, right? And until recently, we had the free blue check mark.
Masama pa rin loob niya.
Masama pa rin loob ko eh. Pero at least ngayon may edit option ka so I can... So, I mean, I hope people understand that sometimes medyo, I say stupid things because I had to deal with a lot of this toxicity. And I just felt they're not being called out. Some of these people. Yeah. And I told people inside the opposition, sabihin nyo sa mga yan because they're giving a bad name to the whole movement. And this cancel culture they're doing is like, it's dumb. Toxic. Like, you're trying to cancel Vico Soto. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
wala na kayong tapos parang you're just being ridiculous, diba? Yeah. So, I mean, it's not just toxic, it's self-destructive na eh. Kasi,
counterproductive pa.
Oo, kasi it's making it hard for everyone kasi ang dali. Sabi, mga opposition, puro mga toxic yan, puro mga bitter yan. So they're giving a bad name to democratic opposition. So my thing is, there should be a house cleaning internally and pagsabihan yung mga iba dyan. Diba? I'm all for pluralism. What I'm saying is, these people have to be put in the right place. They're just, more than a few there who got away with 6-7 years of just spreading nonsense and toxicity and Google Trends and whatever. It's time to put things in the right place. Yes, that's very important. Yeah.
Who is leading the opposition ba ngayon?
Wait. May opposition ba ngayon? Joke lang.
Usapan natin ng ganyan. Sino dapat ang gumagawa nun sa opposition and who is leading the charge?
Well, technically speaking, mayroong opposition kasi institutionalized space siya eh.
Right.
If you're not part of the majority, obviously, dapat nandun ka sa minority. So, sa Senate, nandiyan sila Senator Risa. Sa House, nandun nga yung Makabayan Bloc, sila Congressman Edsel Lagman, nasa minority sila eh. But again, when it comes to sa practice itself, obviously, parang pwede natin sabihin na non-existing yung mismong opposition of politics na hinahanap natin. Again, hindi to pang pang teorya lang kasi may kita nyo sa iba't ibang bansa, healthy talaga yung opposition politics. So
ngayon, tumitigil eh.
Yeah, way worse situation. I think naman Thailand.
Yeah.
Ang tapang na opposition na si Pita, di ba? Like, he went against the military, against the monarchy. Yes, he will not be the next prime minister, most likely. But at least, the guy mobilized so many votes, excitement. He's now on the global map. No? I'm almost ka-age natin yan, di ba? Although a bit older than me. And then, in Turkey, the opposition came to 48% versus 51, 52%. Ang close nung fight. India, even though si Modi napakalakas may movement, lumalaban yung mga farmers, etc. So, ang tanong ko is, kasi ito I always get this I'm sure you get this. Like, alam mo, bakit nag-work ka ba sa campaign? Tumakbo ka ba sa politika? So, let's see later on. But I'm saying, like, academic ka lang naman. It's like, excuse me, whatever you want to say, pinag-aralan ko ibang bansa, talagang kailangan natin humabol. Because I have contacts in governments and opposition in multiple countries. And I always say, Latin America. Tignan mo yung Latin America. Katulad natin. Very similar. Very unequal societies. Very toxic machismo. Very populismo, etc. And yet, tignan mo, ang dami na nanalo mga progressives. Colombia, Peru, Brazil, etc. So, may kulang talaga tayo And to blame the voters, purong disinformation. Yeah, but you think... Have you seen the WhatsApp in India? Like things that you'll see there. Have you followed things in Turkey? Like in fake news in Thailand? Fake news is a problem everywhere. And I would argue that it's even worse in some countries than in the Philippines. Like you have no idea how bad it can get in other countries, no? So for me lang I want to be fair, pero ayoko rin yung idea na okay yung kumuda, support lang kayo kasi kami nandito sa frontline. Like, no, hindi lang kayo nasa frontline. Kami rin lumalaban kami because we're at the frontline of public information spreading. You think we had it easy? We get death threats and attacks all the time. Yung mga staff ni X, Y, and Z, you're behind the scenes actually. Your candidate is on the front. We are on the front on our own. Okay. Anyway, it's just a coffee. It's just
may last na
pakilabas yung flame.
Ito. Siguro last question ko lang din.
Last na yan.
Is it time for the opposition? Yung opposition na Lenny and Don, is it time for them to step back and just join someone else's coalition? Should they be the one leading yung opposition coalition or is it
agenda kaya ata, Mark?
Or is it time for them to just support someone else's coalition and have them lead kung ano man yung
Ako naniniwala pa rin na number one, I think they have already forgotten how to be an opposition. panahon pa ni Marcos, pinagmamalaki nila na veterano na sila bilang oposisyon. No? Nakalimutan na nila yun. Number 2, with this new Marcos government, hindi pwedeng i-recycle yung dati nilang politika. Kailangan nilang mag-offer ng bagong politika at nung kampanya, nasimulan na nila eh. Kumbaga parang may maganda na sila na offer. Sana masustain, sana magtuloy-tuloy. Kasi po hindi bobo ang tao. Kung inofera mo na sila ng radikal na magmahal, dapat nag-develop na siya into a political vision. Sana nag-develop na siya into, sabi nating policies, mga potential bills na pwede mong i-offer, yung mga senatoriables, hindi lang naman sila list of names eh.
Right.
They should have something to offer them. So hindi siya mangyayari again 90 days before elections. No, mangyayari talaga siya all year round.
92 days before. Lagyan nila ng 2 days this year.
Mahabang proseso. So yun yung sanang i-consider ng ating opposition na sana magpaka-opposition sila kasi yung government hindi lang naman talaga mag-exist yan ng isang sitting or ruling party lang eh. Laging may opposition na laging magpapaalala na sa mga dapat gawin at laging may opposition na mag-oppose. Example na lang nagustuhan ko yung pag-comment nila Senator Ping Lacson, nila Senator yun ang pag-oppose. Hindi ad hominem. Hindi nila in-ad-hominem sila Senator
They even name
names.
That's
how
ako ni-name ako ni Lacson lang. Ni GMRC.
So, yun yung hinahanap ng tao.
I know.
So sana rin tayo bilang mamamayan na parang mag-demand din tayo siguro or magbigay din tayong feedback sa ating mga politiko na tutulong kami, magpa-participate kami, pero gawin niyo naman yung...
So what you're saying is we're not being unfair with saying all of these things about the position na hindi tayo too demanding, hindi tayo kuda.
Meron talagang pagkukulang. May shortcoming.
So,
it's very...
Kasi the sense I get sometimes is parang the other side, timing na lang kayo, huwag kayong kumuda, we're in a difficult spot. Blah, blah,
And
blah.
i-reveal for transparency sake. Kaming mga academics din naman, wag naman tayong iaakusa na teorya lang kami. Sorry po, tumutulong din kami sa ating lipunan, may kanya-kanya rin kaming contribution.
At pinag-aaralan namin datos on the ground. Yeah. We operate on our own Google Trends. You know what I'm saying? you know what I'm saying? We have our own Google Scholar. Yun nga yung point kayo. Like, that's the funny thing, isn't it? Like, parati biniblame yung voter disinfo and then sinismart shame yung mga academics na nag-criticize ng opposition. It's like, wait lang, isn't that like anti-intellectualism kind of ish too? I don't know, I'm just saying, no, I really appreciate. We really have to have honest conversation. Pansin ko si Gian ay magsalita. Gian, anong masasabi mo about Itbulaga? Balikan natin.
Kasi pinapakinggan ko mabuti yung mga sinasabi ni Arjan. Parang gusto ko na tuloy mag-sit in sa class niya.
Yun!
Salamat.
Guro Arjan.
Dati sa kanya lang ako kumukopya.
Mga classmate tong mga to eh. Ikaw in general,
Nag-agree naman ako. I think that the opposition should level up and it should acknowledge and remember its role in our political system. So, yun.
Yeah. Which is not kontra for the sake of kontra, but, constructive engagement, shadow government.
Yeah.
Dapat ready sila to
offer
step
alternatives
in. Yeah,
also.
offer alternatives.
And I'm so sorry, kung may ginawa yung government na tama, kailangan din nila mag-concede at puriin or, i-acknowledge yung tamang nagawa.
Yeah.
Hindi yung parang lahat na lang. Kasi, sorry baka pwede ko rin mabanggit ito. Napaka-tempting din kasi na mag-resort sila sa disinformation para lang tirahin yung sitting government.
Yun din.
Sana walang ganun.
Woke disinformation, right? Yung mga PC gan. Just a last note. Kasi my sense is if the Leila de Lima issue gets resolved in a certain positive direction, that could also create some big debates within the opposition, right? Because my sense is some would be quite happy with that outcome and maybe open to... Because I already see some opposition people before, tahimik na ngayon dahil natutuwa sa foreign policy ni Marcos. Especially people with military background, closer to US, etc., West Philippine Sea warriors. My sense is if de Lima gets freed, which is more likely than not, in the next year or less than that could also create another round of debate internally about, baka naman, BBM is more Romualdez than Marcos. I don't know however you want to put it, right? Do you expect also that to be a big divisive issue within the opposition or something?
Of
If
course.
ever, I know it's very, I know it's very. No, actually, it's not speculative. It's scenario building.
Yeah.
It's scenario-based analysis. Yeah.
Actually, if I may add do sa conversation, hindi lang siguro dapat mapalaya or mapawalang sala si Senator Laila De Lima. Kasi I'm sure some forces din sa opposition magde-demand na panagutin yung mismong mga taong
Behind her suffering for 6 years plus.
So hindi lang siya pagpapasawalan.
Pay time.
Yeah.
It's payback time. Yeah.
So I'm sure di pa siya matatapos. So hindi lang siya
doesn't end with
Yeah, I mean, ako yun yung na-expect ko sa
Hindi, but
opposition.
yun nga eh. But maybe you want Marcos on your side if you want to pananagutan yung mga behind her
Pero
suffering.
gagawa pa rin sila ng dahilan para dumistansya pa rin sa
Kay
Marcos.
BBM. So
Kasi sasabihin lang nila pinakawalan mo or pinawalang sala mo, pero yung responsible dito kaya mo habulin.
Oh, yeah.
So yun yung nakikita ko magiging
That's a good angle. That's an interesting thing. What are the other issues na you're looking at na clincher points yung mga medyo gana in the coming year or so? Kasi drug war mukhang I don't see any significant radical change because I mean it's better than before, but I just yung red tagging issue, right? I mean, where do you see that going?
I'm sensing na magtutuloy-tuloy siya at it will get worse given that the current government needs the military behind it. Tapos of course the alliance should be kept intact.
So that will be one of the linchpins.
Knowing former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, busy siya ng time niya sa parang tackle or pag-address ng insurgency. So ina-expect ko na ito yung para magiging way ni President Marcos Jr. na to keep the alliance intact. Yung insurgency, kailangan nandiyan lang yan.
Yeah, I think a lot of people actually kind of empathize with our, I won't say frustration, but I think legitimate constructive concerns with, I won't say dearth of opposition, but suboptimality of the opposition. See, I'm so nice, right? Look at even the terms I use, suboptimality.
Mga advice lang naman siya nabanggit.
Yeah, libre mangarap, libre mag-advise. Yun lang naman magagawa namin. Sino ba naman kami, di ba? Wala naman kaming charba. Okay, anyway, Gian, any final thoughts on Itbulaga? Balikan natin.
Sige, so mag-thank you na lang ako sa inyong dalawa, no, Mark?
Ay, salamat
Richard,
din.
thank you
Salamat
for having me,
din.
and more power to your show.
Thank you so much. Maraming salamat, Gian. And thank you so much also for the fantastic collaborations we had in the past in San Beda University. Maraming salamat also to our friends there. Bakit parang din-disown mo na ako? Ay, hindi ko kilala yan sa Darian. May mga rin tayo dyan. And Arjan, thank you so much, my former colleague in Ateneo. Thank you so much for joining us, being so honest. Parang, I think the Haydarian vibes is like, I'm bringing out the best in, just kidding.
So thank you for the invitation. So napakaganda ng usapan. And Mark, thank you.
Yeah, and just to be clear guys, kape lang po ang ininom namin, nothing out of this world. So thank you very much everyone for joining us. This episode actually went way above its allotted time. We were thinking quite short, but actually once lumabas na yung mga hugot, medyo umepekto tong kape, nag-extend na yan. So hopefully we'll have more of that. So abangan. And I think this, kung may Tres Marias, Cuatro. Yeah. You're gonna see this fantastic four. Hopefully more of us. Salamat and God bless. Thank you very much.
Real Talk